crazy that I'm making another MMO video. There's been 2 in like the last day. Exclusive. NC Soft. I think they changed the name to NC, right? I don't know why. NC Soft is a better name. TL, Throne and Liberty beta test at the end of May, targeting simultaneous global release in October. Cool. I personally like simultaneous global releases for games that come from the East, mostly because it means we're not getting into a game where some fucking neckbeard has played on the Korean server for 6 months, knows everything, there's a million guides came out already, they basically start the game and they're a million miles ahead of everyone else, and it makes it, especially in an open world PvP game, just much less enjoyable for me personally. Of course, with it being a South Korean MMO, just replace all of that with the cash shop, and that's probably going to be the case anyways. But there we go. It's going to be one or the other. So, of course, this is a South Korean website, and of course, that means there's probably going to be some translation errors. It's Google translated, but we'll go through it anyways. I'm personally very excited for Throne of Liberty, as much as I get excited about games nowadays and South Korean MMOs. I think of the MMOs coming out, this is the one I'm looking forward to playing the most, just because I expect some level of polish. I expect to be able to get some time out of the game, because typically these games are very deep. If it's anything like Black Desert Online, you can get lost in BDO with just how much stuff there is to do. And getting in at the beginning when it's fresh and nobody really knows what's going on, when games are that deep, it's just a lot of fun, as long as it's not monetized too badly, which at the start it might not be. That might come in later. So NCSoft's next project here has been set as the first goal of simultaneous global release in October with Amazon. Prior to this, at the end of May, NC and Amazon will conduct cock and ball torture, also known as closed beta test. I can never read CBT without seeing that instead, in Korea and North America respectively. So it doesn't seem like there's going to be a European test, which kind of sucks. I probably would be better off playing the Korean version for ping, but won't be able to because Korea typically requires like a social security number. Initially, an official release in May was likely, but considering the synergy of collaboration with Amazon, the existence of competing works to be released around the same time, such as Diablo 4, the release schedule was postponed. I hate this. I understand why they do it, and we saw like a shareholder or some investment firm talking about this before, saying that they would be better off pushing the release back. It makes sense to get things ready. Working with another company is probably not super easy. But I do think this is probably the bigger reason why they're doing this. If they really wanted to, they could have got it ready in time, I imagine. But competing with Diablo 4 is probably not the greatest. I don't think they're one-to-one the same audience, but at the same time, if you can push it back a couple months later, and basically get in when there's been no other like persistent live service game that's came out that's taken everyone's attention, because pretty much everyone will play Diablo 4, then that does make sense. I do think that's a good business decision, but at the same time, I don't like it. After replacing the TL business leader with this person, Executive Director NC is recruiting staff for the TL business team. These are the cash shop makers. On the 19th, NC's TL development and business organization held a kickoff meeting with officials from Amazon Games, distribution business, and started building a full-fledged collaboration system. Hopefully this means that there's going to be more collaboration between the two sides of like East meets West, and our version has like less bad monetization, because I know it's going to be there. It's just a question of how much of it's going to be in our system. Part of the problem with these games is that even if Amazon had some say in this, and if they were like, oh, we are going to make your version a little bit different, having parity between the two like patch versions, and having ours basically have different drop rates, or things that change balance or are required to be changes in the code at all, probably just can't happen, because then that means when they make a new patch or whatever, they're going to have to alter it again to be able to put it in our system. So typically it's just values of what's in the cash shop, and maybe they have like a loyalty system, and ours has stuff in that loyalty cash shop or whatever that are stuff that originally cost money. It's almost never the case that there's going to be actual like cash shop stuff from drops in our version that's different from their version and things like that, just due to the fact that it's more difficult to manage. That would be cool, of course. I would prefer that, obviously. So this is just a section saying they basically figured out, due to this new person, that they're going to delay the release. Okay, so talking about cash shop here. As the release schedule has been postponed for about half a year, some in the company are concerned that, quote, the establishment of a pay-as-you-go model, BM, in the TL game will eventually turn into a lineage-like type. So this sentence doesn't really mean anything to me, pay-as-you-go. I do know some old Korean games, and I don't know if Lineage was like this in Korea, I can't remember, did used to have, like, you paid for time as you played the game, like you were renting time in the game essentially instead of a subscription. It was like, oh, I buy an hour, although of course in more time than hours. But I don't think that's obviously going to be the case in the Western version. On the 20th, a source familiar with NC's situation quoted an insider's message and said, at the end of May, NC and Amazon decided to conduct TL CBT in Korea and North America respectively. We set that as a priority. Although NC and Amazon are not in the form of setting the release date at the same time, they have decided on a plan to open at the same time by reducing the gap in terms of service as much as possible. It's not a situation, he added. TL is a next generation MMO that NC will introduce to the PC platform. It is a PC MMORPG released by NCSoft 12 years after Blade and Soul. I think that's also one of the reasons why I have to have at least a little bit of expectation and excitement about Throne and Liberty, is that not only does it have the Lineage pedigree, which I did love Lineage as a game, but it also is developed for PC from the ground up. This is not a cross-platform MMO, which it seems like most of the cool games coming out of Korea are, which of course there's going to be limitations on the PC version due to the design of also having to have it on mobile. I wouldn't mind if every MMO that released came out developed for PC, had no consideration of mobile, and then later on they developed something of that game for mobile or ported it to mobile. But when they're developed to be cross-platform, you just know that the PC design is going to suffer based on having to have it one-to-one essentially be playable on a mobile device. So the fact that this is just straight for PC, it's rare nowadays we're getting these from the East. Some people don't like Eastern, specifically Korean MMO design. I personally do. I played them since the early 2000s. I think they definitely have their place, and there's certain people like me that really enjoy these. Although, of course, they're not for everybody. It is based on Lineage Eternal, which was developed in earnest around 2013, but in 2016, development of Lineage Eternal was stopped, and the leader of Lineage Eternal camp was replaced from Captain somebody to Captain somebody else, and a new development began. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to read the names because I'd rather not read the name and butcher it. It was originally developed based on the Guild Wars engine, but after Captain Choi took over the production leadership, the base engine was replaced with Unreal Engine 4, and the project name was changed to TL. TL is an abbreviation of the Lineage, and it is a title name that firmly reflects the idea of continuing the Lineage series. Good. It's been way too long since we've had a PC Lineage game. They've made about 15 of them for mobile, and they all fucking suck. At the time of release, TL was also discussed as an official name Lineage 3, but eventually it was named as a new IP bit named Throne and Liberty. Regardless of Lineage IP, it is known to have had a complex effect. So they originally was going to call it LLL. Interesting. Oh, so this vice president dude was the guy who led development on Lineage and Lineage 2, and among those remaining at NC is the largest stake in the implementation of the Lineage universe. So this is not just a spiritual successor, this literally has somebody worked on the other two games, which a lot of people, again, are not going to care because they just see MMO, play MMO. But considering what Lineage 1 and Lineage 2 was and the feeling that they went for, when I see the trailer for Throne and Liberty, I'm like, that looks like an updated Lineage game, so it makes sense that this is the case. And then the other dude worked on the mobile games. Oh no. He's called the Son of Lineage. The fucking wayward son went to their mobiles. Oh, so this is interesting. After release of Trickster M and Blade and Soul 2, both mobile games, by the way, when the market reaction did not meet expectations, there was a reaction from inside and outside NC saying you shouldn't overuse Lineage IP or make non-Lineage IP games like Lineage. It would have been nice when I started reading this when they were like, oh yeah, we've oversaturated the mobile market, so that's why we wanted to make a really true PC game Lineage MMO that's going to be here for the next decade and not be monetized as badly. Of course, they're not going to say that, but that would have been a cooler angle to go out for this one, even just for PR. What the fuck? In 2021, when the development of TL was on the right track, it was reported that the CEO praised the game as found the next Harry Potter after checking the intermediate achievements of the game. That's such a weird saying, but also makes sense. I've never heard anybody say, oh, we found the next Harry Potter. But also, with how much money Harry Potter makes, that makes complete sense, I guess. I wonder if they're aware that in the West, that using the term Harry Potter immediately just sets Twitter on fire and people just start fucking shitting and pissing their pants. It is known that at the beginning of this year, TL was targeted for release in May. However, after the North American distribution contract with Amazon was finalized, voices insisted on delaying the release schedule. It is known the decision was made to postpone the release to the second half of last March. Yeah, here we go. Look, Aeon 2, the next mobile game, the existence of competitors such as Diablo 4 and synergy of collaboration with Amazon is the problem. Now, I don't know what this means. I'd love to see the original translated into English by a Korean American or something that knows like contextually what this means. But from the point of view of the production team that has completed development, there is no need for more physical time to improve the level of perfection. So they're basically just saying here that the game already is, it's done. Like they know that the game's done. They don't need more time. The game is finished. Inside NC though, there are also concerns that, quote, depending on the results of CBT, the so-called lineage-like may be grafted onto the business model of TL in the name of maximizing business performance. Does that mean fucking pay to win? Because Lineage 1, by the way, still earns more money than Lineage 2. Lineage 1 is one of the highest grossing video games out of Korea ever. That game, people don't know if you Google, like, Wikipedia, the Lineage series, Lineage 1 earns so much fucking money. Lineage franchise crosses 4 billion in gross revenue just on mobile. Look at this shit, man. From 1998 to 2021, 4 billion Korean won to Lineage 2's 1.7. In total, just Lineage 1 and 2, 6.1 billion. And some years, it's basically doubling the amount of money Lineage 2 earns. But I don't know what they're saying here, the Lineage-like business model. So if anybody knows what the fuck this means, specifically this section, about the Lineage-like thing being grafted onto the business model of TL, I assume they mean the monetization. So there we go, May for the beta for North America and Korea, October for the global release. I'll definitely be checking it out. Hopefully it's a good game. We've been waiting for a long time for another one. Again, as always, going to be pay to win. Just how much? How acceptable is it going to be? And yeah, if it's a good enough game, I personally won't care all too much because I'll play a fucking amazing game that has monetization issues as opposed to a lot of the mediocre MMOs that are out right now that also have monetization issues. But there we go. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out.